So with these walk-ins that are coming into 85% of us who are on this path, is there, are the walk-ins, do they generally have a higher purpose, or I mean, do you see a commonality of why this is happening and where it's going?
Yeah. If I had to tell a story, and that's the place I'm at right now, and as a shaman, that's I found the most useful way. It's like I feel energies, and I just kind of make up a story that kind of goes with this. And the story I'd be making up right now is there are an immense number of beings who are on this planet as it's ascending in vibration, who are seeking to move through and let go of things. And because the vibration is so high, and it's increasing, a being is able to release things much quicker, where it used to take a lifetime to move through an issue or to release a particular topic. You can do it in a couple months. So it's not uncommon to see cycle times between walk-ins of 5 years, 3 years, really short time durations. So what it feels like to me is that there are beings on the planet who are in the near Earth realms who are just seeking to wrap up. And they just need to wrap up this topic or this topic. And they get into a body, they wrap up that topic, and then they move on. And they exit, and then a new being comes in. And it feels to me that it's connected to the ascension of the planet. And that's why I think there's so many beings who are so many walk-ins that are occurring with people who are on a spiritual path versus people who are not. Because that's where the magic is, that's where the zip and a lot of change and all this dynamism is occurring. And that's what these beings are trying to do, is they're trying to clean up, wrap up, get things done.
They're going to the vehicles who can get it done as quickly as possible.
Sounds pretty smart, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's where the yum is.
Yes. And when you want a being who's kind of stepped out of a lot of the garbage and tangles and lockdowns and into more of being able to express who they are. And that's what also allows all this stuff to clear so quickly. So, yeah.
So why don't I ask this question, and then I have another question out there.
Cool.
Will come in. So Jaden, I've heard about entity attachments, and I think I sort of know what that is. What's the difference between entity attachments and having a walk-in or being a walk-in?
Right. So there's what I call primary occupants. They're the beings that have an agreement to line up with the body. So it's all referenced for me in terms of the body. So the primary occupant, aka a walk-in, they have an agreement to make this energetic connection with the body. And the body actually begins to sync up with the essence of the new soul that comes in. An entity can also be a walk-in, but in most cases, entities are beings who have died. They just don't have a body anymore. They have an energy body, but they just don't have a physical body anymore. And in some cases, they're looking to get back into one, and they'll do it in any way they can. You can be a walk-in and have entities. I had entities, lots of them, and a walk-in. And what entities do is they just generate clutter. But the body will not sync up with an entity. You can, as a primary occupant, even kind of employ an entity to take charge of certain areas of your life. People who you interact with who, they don't seem like they're there a lot. You know, you talk to them and it's just different stories that seem to run and things. Those are typically entities managing different aspects of their life. But the body never syncs up with those entities. So to me, the difference is that the body syncs up with a walk-in or the primary occupant, but it will not sync up to entities. It will only stay synced to the being that has an agreement with the body.
A walk-in basically engages with the body's intelligence.
Yes.
To sync up.
Yes. Yes, there's an alignment and a coherence that happens. One of the fascinating things for me was watching how Todd was with the body. And when I came in and I thought, well, okay, that's the way you operate this body. I mean, I don't know, I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. And so I started to, after Todd left, I started to try to run the body the way Todd did. And it just wouldn't work. I mean, I could move my arms and legs and stuff, but it's like the more sophisticated things just didn't function correctly. And I found that Todd has a way of syncing up with the body. Body moves to a certain alignment to interface with the way Todd engages the body. As soon as Todd left, my body started to align with the way Jaden interfaces with the body. So what I noticed was when I just naturally relaxed and just did what came natural to me, everything just worked fine. When I tried to do it Todd's way, didn't quite work. It was really weird. So the body actually adapts to you, the new being. And that's part of the confusion that occurs with walk-ins is if you still have the previous occupant in the body may not have adapted to you yet, and so things don't feel like they work right. I work with people and they'll describe it as, it's like, I've lost connection with my body. They remembered in the previous occupant that everything worked and everything synced up and everything flowed, and now they're in a space where it doesn't seem to do that. Well, there's a walk-in that occurred, and the body needs to let go of the old occupant, or the old occupant has to leave, and then the body adapts or melds to the new occupant.
And you can help people release the old occupant,
yes,
so that the
yes,
new occupant can
yes,
be the primary, what did you call it,
primary occupant. What's interesting is, in most cases, when the stuck previous occupants are not really stuck, they're trapped. Because what happens a lot is the new soul comes into the body and it goes, okay, wait a minute, this is a different life. I don't know these people. These are not my friends. This is not my family. This is not my wife. It's like, who is this? It's like
a David Byrne song.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want you to leave because I need you, because you got to tell me who these people are and how I should be interacting with them. So they hang on to the past occupant out of a desperate attempt to create continuity in most cases. It's like, well, okay, how do I know how to function here? Or sometimes out of loneliness. The new soul comes into the body and it's like, oh, this is so nice having somebody close to me I can cuddle with. And so you stay here. Yet that being had already decided that it wanted to exit. And thus the common thing about depression and suicide and all these feelings of wanting to leave, that's the outgoing primary occupant that is being held onto by the incoming. So it's usually finding out what's the value of holding on to this, the old occupant for you, and allowing you the space to let go of that. And then that occupant is quite ready to leave. It's rarely a struggle. It's just a confusion that causes things to get stuck.
So for people who are experiencing themselves as having a walk-in, how long does it take for them to untangle everything so that they can get to the point of clarity and move forward with this new understanding, a new being that they are?
Good question. It seems to vary quite a bit. I've worked with people who I can untangle their situation. The record time was 45 minutes. And we just were able to just bam, 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 because they were so prepared for it. They already had talked a lot about the whole walk-in thing. They'd already had a lot of background with it. And so they were ready for it. And so that's actually very easy. It has a lot to do with where the mind is in terms of allowing these perceptions through. So it's like, where also are they on their spiritual path and their connection with them, their process, I guess would be a better way to say it. But so it can happen very quickly and very easily, or for some people, it's a process where they need a dose of exposure to it, and they're like, okay, that's just a little too weird. We're going to stop on that. And then they integrate that for a while, and then they get curious again, and they're like, okay, now tell me more about this. So what else was that? And then you go in a little deeper, and they're like, oh yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, that's good. This doesn't apply to me anymore. Yeah, no, I'm okay. And then so it's this dance depending on where their mind is with it. But for people who are totally ready, within a couple of hours in a one-on-one session, I can just totally detangle them and really get them back to them. And they walk in the door all very cluttered and discombobulated, and they walk out just clear and floating and glowing, and it's so cool to watch. But my objective now is like, how can I bring this to more people? How can I broaden the scope and work with more people? So where I want to focus on now is taking it online, to telecalls, interviews like this. Like, I want to start exploring how can I take groups of people through this process, because I've played with it enough to get a really good feel for little quirks and little snags and little things. And I want to see what is it like to walk a whole group of people through. So that's kind of where I'm playing now, is gathering together people who want to go through this, and over like a multi-week process, like a hour and a half phone call every week or every other week for a month, 4 calls or something like that, and see what we can get done in that time. It's a big topic. For some people, it can be very tangly and it can take longer. And okay, so then maybe they'll need more calls, and that's fine. So I don't know. I'm still kind of playing with that notion, but it doesn't have to be a lot and a long time. It can happen very readily.
I'm really excited to hear about this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's so cool. It's just, I love it.
That's awesome. So, how do people connect with you?
My website is jaden-fox.com, and they can sign up there. My email is jaden@jaden-fox.com. Wherever this video is, there's probably a link, something you can click. You just click down underneath there or whatever, I don't know. And send me a personal email, or I'm going to put some signups for how they can find a list where they can begin to get more information. Because a lot of it is, because for some people it takes a while to digest it, I want to be able to give them a dose of information, let that settle in, and then another dose of information and let that settle in, and allow the mind a comfortable space to begin to explore these different notions without feeling threatened by it. Because we don't want to threaten the control systems. We want to work with, around, dance. I mean, we'll come in the back door if we have to, but we don't want to cause panic in the system. It just doesn't help anybody. So signing up for something that gives you regular information, they can help digest and start thinking about it and feeling into it. And what I noticed is it starts to explain a whole lot of stuff that just never made any sense at all. You kind of go back into your life and it's like, what was that about? And it's like, why was that so different? And why didn't I get it? Like, one of the things that I didn't list before was, if you go back and think about your childhood and all you have are like these spotty memories, like clips from a movie, you're walking. If you go back and you feel back into dramatic situations that occurred and you just have like zero energy, it's like you watched a movie about it, you're likely a walk-in. Or you've done a lot of work in that topic. But if all the topics are just clean, you're likely a walk-in. So you'll notice that you can start to feel back in time, and you go back a ways and, oh yeah, there's a charge there. You go back another couple years, there's a charge there. You go back another couple years, and it's kind of flatline. It's like there's nothing after that. It's like, it's just, there's no charge on it. It's like all the charge is gone because that wasn't you. that's another benefit of this work, is there's a lot of people doing all this spiritual work and healing their inner child and healing the wounds of their childhood and blah, blah, blah. And you get to a certain point where you're done with that. But it's common to keep going and going and going. And what's interesting with the walk-in is I came in at June 2008. Anything before June 2008 isn't mine. It just does not apply. It's just not relevant. When I go back and feel it, it's like a story that somebody told me, or it's like a movie that I watched it touched me, but it ain't mine. I walk away from it without any difficulty. So one of the coolest things about a walk-in is you're taking all of the past that was part of this body's dance in this world, and it's just not relevant anymore. It does not affect you anymore. That's the biggest gift that I like about it, is it's just, that stuff just doesn't apply. It's just not there anymore. Woo-hoo, how's it get any easier than that? So.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Jaden, thank you so much for taking time on this beautiful sunny day in Hawaii to speak to me about walk-ins. Very, very interesting and poignant topic. And thank you everyone for watching. Aloha.
Thank you.